All right. Let's back that up. It's done. And we're going to wait for somebody to show up. Give it just a little bit of time, guys. Today is Clint's Critter Chat, where we're going to be talking about different animals that live here in the swamps. What's up, McCash? How you doing, man? Changed your picture. I see that. All right. So we're just waiting for a few people to show up, and then we're going to get to talking about the feral hog, guys, which a lot of people wouldn't think it, but pigs are dangerous, guys, and we're going to get into that conversation. Not only are pigs dangerous, but the wild hog is very destructive. You're not doing so good? Why are you not doing so good, McCash? I know. Oh, it's sorry to hear that you're sick. You know, that's not good. So, guys, yeah, we're going to give it about 5 minutes, and then we're going to get into the conversation about the Texas feral hog. I might just change my picture real quick. There we go. Let's go with this one. That'll work. All right. You know, I'm sorry you're sick, McCash. You know, we're going to give it another 3 minutes and see who all shows up. Actually, we got 4 people in here. Let's go on ahead and get started, shall we? The Texas feral hog. You know, guys, that would be this big bitch. Excuse the language, but that's a big old sow. You know, guys, and they are a very, very big problem. Hey, Zen, thank you for the shout out on your channel. But yeah, guys, these guys are a big, huge problem. You know, you wouldn't think it. But these guys get huge. Not only that, they have multiple children every single time. They can have up to 20 piglets. And they're very, very protective of them. There's very, very few things that can get to their piglets. But guys, what we're getting on is the fact that they're feral. They're not actually native to Texas, guys. There's only one hog native to Texas. And that would be this little guy, if I could find him. Right here. Well, you can't really see it very well, but it's called the javelina. That is the only hog native to Texas, is the javelina. And when our ancestors came over here and first settled Texas, they brought with them domesticated Eurasian hogs or Russian boar. So they brought with them domesticated wild boars. Now, and sow. But now whenever they took and brought them over here, guys, they didn't realize how fast a hog goes feral. And it's minutes, guys, that a hog will go crazy. You know, literally give it about 3 generations, 3 times the breed. And that 3rd generation is going to come out looking as wild as what I just showed you guys. You know, the feral hog is nothing to scoff at, guys. These things are big. They are powerful. They can seriously hurt you. These big guys right here are very dangerous. You know, not very many people realize how dangerous they are. But we've had fatalities here in Texas due to hogs. You know, most of them are hunters, yes. But we have had fatalities of normal, innocent people that have never even owned a gun, that have been attacked by feral hogs in their homes or in their yards. What's up, Adrian? Like, I can't even talk because of my throat. Ooh, I'm sorry, McCash. But yeah, these hogs, you know, they're an actual problem. And a lot of people don't realize Bo Jackson punching a hog in the face and knocking it out. I don't know if it's true or an urban legend. Zach, I'm more than likely sure it's an urban legend. And the reason being is because these guys are tanks. Okay, guys? They're not built to be weak. They are tank. You know, what's up, Primal Sunflower? They are literally built with muscle and fat that is really hard to get through. In fact, I got to use a 22 Magnum as the lowest firearm that I can use to take these guys out. You know, and even then I have to use max velocity ammunition with a Teflon tip just to be able to punch through the muscle, bone, and skull. You know, guys, so these guys are built to really mess things up. You know, they're not small. They're rather large, and they can cause some serious damage, not just to people, but they can cause some serious damage to crops, to wildlife, to all kinds of stuff like that. Because, I mean, look at these guys. They're built to fight. They're not built to stand to run, even though, yes, they do run a lot. Here comes the sun. Yes, it does. Do. I was in Florida, and those hogs were tearing up brand new baseball fields they were building. They were a menace. Oh, yes, they're a serious menace down here in Texas. I could tell you right now, they are good eating. Oh, yeah, they are good eating. And I'll show you guys something real quick. I know a lot of y'all have seen this skull, but I'm going to show y'all again. This here is a wild, feral Texas hog skull, okay? This is one I killed myself. Now, as you can see, let me cut this green screen off real quick. As you can see, they got some serious tusks on them. These are all for defense. These are very, very deadly. Hang on. There we go. These are very deadly. These tusks will shred you in seconds, and it's awful. Are they near McAllen Mission on Palmview? I guarantee they probably are, Zen. What's Pippi got to say? Left eye, right eye, let's keep our hearts, minds, souls, and strength on the true Jesus Christ. Never mind the darkened eyes of the Antichrist. I like the saying. You know, I do like it. But yeah, guys, do they grow tusks when they go feral? Actually, all hogs have tusks. It's a natural defense for them, kind of like almost all cows, except for very specific ones that were bred to not have horns, typically have horns. You know, so most of your hogs have tusks. Even your domesticated hogs. They just won't have as big of ones because they don't need them. But these, as feral hogs, they need them for guard. They need them to protect themselves. And they rub together so they sharpen each other. And these can split you open in seconds, guys. I know people that wear armor that catch these things alive. And it's not only that. If you look at the front part of their teeth right here, these two front teeth, or these three, on both sides are like scissors. They slide in together to slice through things. And these back molars are grinders. So all these teeth right here, these are for gripping. These are for just defense. These are for shredding hard plants. And then these are for grinding it up. So guys, when their teeth come together, it's like a pair of pliers with a razor blade on the front of it. You know, they're not anything light to take whatsoever. And not only that, but they're heavy. You know, hogs are huge. Let me show you guys some pictures of some hogs. You know, guys, this thing's being carried by a tractor. This is a 19-year-old young man. You know, all these hogs are huge. Look how big this thing is compared to the truck. It's bending the tailgate. These are all pictures of hogs taken out of Texas, guys. These are hogs that have been taken close to my area. Would you ever go hog hunting from a helicopter? Actually, yes, I would. I would go hog hunting from a helicopter. And the reason being is because these guys cause some serious mass destruction, you know, to our crop fields, to our cattle fields. Like Zach said earlier about them tearing up that field in Florida. I think that was Zach, or was that Zen? Yeah, it was Zach. Okay, so Zach talked about them tearing up the baseball fields in Florida. Guys, have you ever seen what a small group of hogs can do? This is a small group. This was probably 10 hogs that did all that. All of that. This was a guy's wheat field in Texas. And this is literally a group of 10 hogs in one night. In just one night, guys. That is impressive that they can do that kind of stuff. You know, on average, we get them about this size. That's about average in certain areas, and you can see those tusks. So that 250 pounder that I shot ain't squat compared to what we can get, guys. And the worst part about it is they just populate. Yeah, it looks like a cow. What do you think the average weight of the feral hog here in Texas that I've noticed so far is 150 pounds to 200, and then you got the big old boars. These are guys that stay in the deep woods nobody ever sees, and these suckers get monstrous. A hog never quits growing. It never does. It always grows. It gets bigger and it gets stronger. It gets more muscle. These guys are powerhouses, okay? You might have that much fat, and then the rest of it is all muscle, guys. They use their heads as battering rams. So shooting them in the head, guys, you better have a good caliber weapon, or you better have a good round. Otherwise you're just going to tick it off. Shuck, please go lay down, baby. Daddy's doing his show. Lay down. No, baby, I know you want the bone, but you can't have it. Go lay down. Maybe you can save some money on a road tiller and just buy some hogs. Actually, yeah, you probably could. Let some hogs loose out on a field that's fresh, that you haven't actually cleared for any kind of agriculture yet. And yeah, they'll tear it all up. They'll aerate the soil. They'll till it. They'll get rid of every last stick and branch. Guys, they're ravenous. They never stop eating. And not only that, but when they do stop eating, they're sleeping or they're wallowing in mud. What's up, Roblox man? Go on. Trying to do my show, baby. Sorry, my dog's being a little annoying. He's gone out today. He's had food. He's had water. He's just being annoying. But anyway, guys, so a lot of people here in Texas hunt hogs with dogs. They'll take and they'll get a cur team or a pit bull team, and they'll hunt hogs with them. Now, there is no season on hogs here in Texas either, and it's because there's such a problem. I just showed y'all what they did to a guy's wheat field. This is what they did to somebody's yard. If I kept that picture. Yeah, here it is. This is what they did to a person's yard. This is in the middle of suburbia. This happened at night. They woke up and their yard was trashed. This was maybe only 2 hogs that did this. So you can imagine what happens when you have a sounder, which, guys, that's what a group of hogs is called, is a sounder. They are extremely territorial is another problem with them. They'll chase off everything else in their territory. Yeah, just 2 hogs can do that. I'm not even joking, man. I got you. What do they eat? They eat anything. I've seen them eat snakes. I've seen them literally pin up a mother deer, trample her fawn, and eat the baby. They're looking for grub worms. They're looking for roots. They're eating grass. They're eating mushrooms. They're eating whatever is edible to them. It is literally almost everything. Now, here out in the big thicket where me and my dad hunt, they eat a lot of acorns because you have oak flats everywhere out there. And yeah, the poor baby deer, it was awful watching, having to hear it and listen to it as it was being ravaged by these hogs was just bad. If I'd have had a shotgun, I'd have shot every hog, but guys, I've even seen a hog stand in the shallow waters of a creek and snatch up perch to eat. Yeah, they are omnivorous, 100%. In fact, there's a huge problem with unsolved murder cases involving hogs around here in Texas, because people can take some chicken blood, spread it all over a corpse, and leave it sitting there overnight. And I guarantee you by the next day, it's going to be spread over 15 yards, just spread all out, because them hogs are going to go nuts all over it. They're going to eat the person, and that is, hogs eat anything, If it creeps, crawls, flies, swims, grows, they'll eat it, as long as it's not venomous to it. Group of hogs is called a sounder. I've met my quota. I've learned something today. Yeah, group of hogs is called a sounder, brother. Not only that, but you have the boar, which is the male hog, which is what this was. This was a boar. It was a big old male. You can see where I shot him. But this was a big old male. And he was 250 pounds. And the skull don't make him look very big. But you got to add that much muscle and then that much fat. So you got to layer on them this thick just on their heads. So you can imagine what would happen when you get past this onto the neck and onto the shoulders. That's where the power is built into these things. And they're fast, guys. 45 miles an hour at a sprint. That is not slow. You know, that is an animal that is hauling some butt. That is almost faster than a horse. That's almost faster than a horse. You know, guys, and they'll take and drive everything else away. You'll be stuck with rodents. So if you have hogs on your property and you want your property to look nice and clean, or you want deer to come around or something like that, you best start exterminating them hogs, because otherwise they're going to chase everything off of your property. Yeah, 45 miles per hour has been the fastest the hog's ever been clocked running. And guys, it wasn't little. That was a 200-pound hog. You know, and like I said, on average, they're about 150 to 200 pounds, possibly 300. And that's just an average hog. But that's still a big animal, guys. That still feeds a whole family for months. I know, because I hunt them. You know, my shotgun's name is Hog Buster, because, guys, that's all I've ever shot with it is hogs. And the reason being is because the hogs have taken over the Lance Rozier unit, which is the big thicket that we hunt on. You know, they have taken it over. And because of that, they have driven away a lot of the deer. You know, we can't really see any deer anymore. So we just go hunting for hogs. And yeah, 300 pounds is scary. But you want to see real scary there, Roblox, man? I showed this to them a minute ago. Let's see. I can't even get the full picture on here. But this is the back of an F-150 truck. All right, this is a decent sized truck. It's not a small truck. And this sucker, as you can see down here, is bowing the tailgate. That's one hog, you know, and that's a little above average. Yeah, they're huge. Just remind me of an old mafia story. If they weren't feeding you to the gators, they were feeding you to the hogs. Exactly, because the hogs will get rid of everything just as fast as an alligator will. And the only problem is the hogs will come in quicker. The alligators is going to hide you to wait for you to soften up and rot a little bit, and then they're going to eat you. The alligator is a lot less dangerous than the feral hog. Elk? Yeah. Stomping a mountain lion to death. Elk are nothing to mess around with either. Do you think you could domesticate a feral hog? Over time, if you catch wild hogs and then you breed them, within 3 or 4 generations, they'll look like domestic pigs. That's how crazy fast they adapt, guys. They adapt that quick. Do you have to shoot it in the head like a gator? No, actually, I shoot them in the side with a 12-gauge buckshot. What's up, Carfire? So yeah, I use 12-gauge buckshot. I shoot them in the heart and lung area, and I drop them. You know, guys, I've never missed a hog. I've never missed a shot. So let's hope that stays that way. I have missed a deer, but I've never missed a hog. The other thing about hogs is they can't see very well. They can smell and they can hear. They can't see very well. So that makes them even more aggressive. You know, so now you've got something that's bipolar with switchblades in its mouth, built like a tank, and as angry as Mike Tyson on a bad day. And now you got to deal with that sucker, you know. Sup, Raymond? Talking about wild feral hogs today. So yeah, guys, the feral hog is nothing to mess around with. I'm doing great this morning, Raymond. Got me a monster, sitting here talking to you guys with the first ever episode of Clint's Critter Chat. Anyway, so yeah, back to the feral hog, guys. You know, I've seen these things eat baby alligators. I've seen them raid alligator nests. You know, I've seen these things literally catch raccoons. mid-run and carry them off to eat them. You know, there used to be a big species called, I believe, the Morphodont, and it was literally called the hell pig. It was a pig literally specifically designed to eat meat. And yeah, I know, it's the last day of May, Raymond. But anyway, these hogs are massive, you know, guys, and they run around in large groups, you know, like this picture I showed y'all just a second ago. I know y'all can't see all of them, and y'all can't see it as well as I was hoping, but this is a group, you know, this is a sounder. This is how they travel. And believe it or not, guys, these groups protect each other, and it makes it even worse. You know, when you got something that's got teeth like that, hell. When you got something that's got teeth like that, you don't want to get on the receiving end of those. You know, and there's a lot of animals that know that. So they leave the hog alone. They don't hunt it. They don't mess with it. The bobcat will take small hogs. The mountain lion will take larger hogs. And the alligator will take as big a hogs as it can get. But that's the only 3 species that will hunt these big sons of guns. You know, and that's why they're exploding in population and size. Not much. I'm glad the sun is out today. All right. They always say that pigs are as smart as a dog. Do you think it's true? Yes. The feral hog is incredibly intelligent. It's smart enough to where it'll take its weakest member in the group and it'll make it go investigate something. Like if they smell something, they'll send their weakest member to go investigate it. If he comes back and makes that noise, they all take off. It's just a quick little and they'll take off. But good morning, Connie. And no, I've never ran into a hog with a lisp. Yeah, I don't even know how a hog would have a lisp. But you'll always also know a feral hog from a wild pig or from a pig, because a pig's just gonna sit there. You know, it's not gonna really make a lot of noise. But a hog almost has a roar to it, like they're. They almost have a roar to them. It's more guttural than a wild hog, or than a feral, domesticated pig. You know, and all right, I'll see you later, there, Roblox man. But these guys are just huge. Get off the tripod. They're not meant to be here. Is the main thing. The javelina is the only hog native to Texas, and the javelina is a small hog. It's a little bitty guy, you know, on average, maybe 75 pounds. They're not very big. I think the biggest one I've ever heard of was 100 pounds, you know, and that's a massive one. But then when the settlers came over, they brought the Russian boar, the Eurasian boar, the European boar, the giant forest boar. They brought all these creatures here together. They all interbred, especially whenever you had people whose were being slaughtered by Native Americans or bandits or whatever, and their livestock was left to run free. That livestock became the feral hog, and they're so quick to adapt. They're so strong. They have so few predators, and they are absolute powerhouses, guys. There's nothing about them that is weak at all, except for their eyesight. That's the only thing I can say on them that's weak, is their eyesight. You know, guys, that's like running into a boxer that's nearsighted. You still don't want to mess with him, you know? And how you doing today, Connie? But anyway, guys, you know, here in Texas, we hunt them with shotguns and rifles. Of course, some people go overboard and use more high-power rifles than I believe necessary. But, you know, guys, like I said, these things ain't easy to take down. You know, that 200-pounder, I shot him twice. I shot him in the head, and he was still trying to get up. I put a bullet through his brain, and he was still trying to get up. So that tells you how powerful and determined these things are. I had to put another round in his heart and lungs just to stop it. I had to literally blow his heart to pieces. 100 guys versus a feral hog, the 100 guys is gonna win. That's proven history. But you're gonna lose about 30 guys. You're gonna lose a few. And if it's a big, like 900-pound hoss, I don't know how many you're gonna lose. But that's like asking 100 men versus a cow. Because I've literally seen cattle give wild hogs a wide berth. Because they don't want that feral hog coming after the calf. A hog's one of the few animals that will take revenge. I ain't joking. You take a hog off, it'll come take revenge. My friend Nuttall went to Texas to hunt them. He got him one. Nice. Actually, that's exactly what I was talking about, was hunting feral hogs and the feral hog itself. Like I showed you guys, this guy had to use an AR-15 to take down a 760-pound hog. Big old sucker. Then you got this big hoss. That's over 900 pounds. Then you got this guy right here. These two guys, young men right here, killed it at 825 pounds. And they used a .45 caliber pistol. Then you got these boys. Good old boys. Probably used a 30-30 or an .06, something like that. So yeah, they're hunted here in America. They're hunted here in Texas for sure. They're considered to be one of the few animals that's okay to hunt for sport. Guys, because they're just a problem. Come on, you. I'm trying to get my green screen off here. Thank you. Oh, it still tastes like pork. It's just a little gamey. That's all there is. Oh, there's my Jin. There she goes. I'm guessing there's no bow seasonal. There's no seasonal wild hogs, period. You can hunt them with a bow, shotgun, whatever you want to hunt them with here in Texas, because they're a problem. We're trying to eliminate them. They're destroying our cattle grounds. They're destroying our farmland. They're destroying our national forests. They're chasing the white-tailed deer out of Southeast Texas. It's a terrible, terrible thing. Even people in West Texas, in the damn desert, have problems with these big guys. A hog can survive in everything but an Arctic climate that I know of so far. I've never heard of hogs surviving in the Arctic. But guys, if they can, I think it's time to start putting some up there so that polar bears can have something to eat. Because a polar bear is a big predator too. But a hog, a Texas wild hog, is not necessary. These things need to go. We call them piney wood rooters down here. Over the years, that's what they ended up calling them, was piney wood rooters. And man, I know a man right now who's missing his leg from the knee down thanks to a hog. I don't take hogs live. I shoot them. There's some people who catch them live in traps or with dogs. And this man's name was Jeg. And his real name was Jegediah, but we just called him Jeg. Yeah, there are some in Alaska, but I'm just saying like Antarctica. I've never seen any in Antarctica, and I've never seen any above the Arctic Circle. That's all I was getting at, Zach. Or not Zach, Sampton. 100 hogs versus a polar bear. Polar bear's dead. Polar bear's dead because he's going to focus on one hog at a time, and they're going to attack him all at once. So I can guarantee that. Guys, hogs don't just tear up ground. They'll tear your fence posts out of the ground. They'll rip into your home. A friend of mine came home one day from a long vacation. Walked into his house. His door was busted off the hinges, just shattered, just splinters all over the floor. And his house was completely trashed. And the only reason why he knew who the culprit was because every Texan that's a hunter worth his salt knows what hog poop looks like. And there was hog poop all in his house. And he didn't have dogs. So That's the only thing it could have been. A hog broke into his house and ate everything. You underestimated the size of these hogs. Picture on that truck is crazy. Yes, it is, Zach. This is why I'm a hog hunter. This is why I tell you guys what I do is not easy. Can you imagine dragging that big son of a bitch out of the woods by yourself? Excuse the language, but could you really imagine doing that? Dragging that sucker out of the woods on your own. That's what me and my dad do. We go out, we shoot them, and we drag them out. We don't use a four-wheeler. We don't use a truck. We don't use anything like that. We leave no trace of ourselves behind other than footprints. Maybe a shotgun shell if we can't find it. But that's the most we do. But these hogs, we've had a fatality in Beaumont a few years back where a young lady went to go get into her car, didn't know it, and there was a sow on the other side of her car. Well, as soon as her car went whoop, whoop, and she stepped out, that hog charged because that hog had piglets. And it broke her arm, tore all the flesh off of her arm, ripped one of her breasts completely off, broke her neck, and crushed her skull. Not only that, but it ripped her stomach wide open. Her intestines were laying out all over the place. So, guys, that's what a hog can do in seconds. This whole attack took place in 5 to 6 seconds. And that was long enough for her husband to stick his pistol out the window and unload an entire clip into this hog, and it still ran off. What's up, Diego? I'm from Texas as well, Southeast Texas. And we're talking about the feral hog today. How dangerous these things are, how massive they can be. And their diet, their habits. Their habits are simply this. They have a 5 square mile territory. And they explore every inch of it. They know where every water hole is. They know where every waller is. They know where every ounce of food is. And they will protect it with everything they got. And guys, a sounder of hogs is one of the few places where you'll find other males. Feral hog versus monitor lizard. Yes, Texas does have land everyone can hunt there, Connie. There's plenty of places, especially in West Texas. Down here in the Big Thicket, anybody can hunt in specific areas. You just got to go ask for it. What about feral hog versus monitor lizard? All right, the largest monitor lizard versus the largest feral hog. The largest monitor lizard is the Komodo dragon. So, guys, the Komodo dragon will win. They eat hogs all the time naturally anyway. It's actually a part of their diet. So, yeah, monitor lizard versus feral hog. Feral hog's going to be pork chops. Every time. Especially if it's a Komodo. Now, if it's anything less than a Komodo, the hog's going to eat it. But it's got to be a Komodo dragon or a Nile monitor, guys. And even then, a Nile monitor really doesn't want to put up with a fight. The Komodo dragon will. But I will say this. I've seen a team of 60 dogs take on a 300-pound hog. We lost 15 dogs. We lost. That's not just injured. We lost on the spot 15 dogs. Altogether injured, 45. I started making my friend leather armor to put onto his dogs to protect them. And then he found a Kevlar vest. And so he uses a Kevlar spiked vest to hunt hogs with on his dogs. So they can't hurt his dogs. But give me just a second, guys. I got to go walk my shuck. He's done farted twice, and it's rank. So I've got to go walk my dog. I will be right back with some more talk on feral hogs. Until then, I'm going to leave you guys with an interesting picture so y'all can look at and have a quick conversation amongst yourselves. Find a good one. Here we go. The giant forest boar up here is one of the ones that's been released down here in Texas. Anyway, guys, I'll be right back. Let me go find a way to walk my shuck real quick. All right? Hang on, let me read this. I had a hog ransack my house too. Her name was Tammy. She's my ex-wife. Clint, what's up? What's up, trash? All right. Y'all guys sit there and enjoy the picture of the hogs for right now. I have to go find a way to get my shuck outside without him shiting in my room. Shuck. All right, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that, but Shuck had to go. So let's get back to Clint's critter chat, shall we? So back to the feral hog. All right. One thing about feral hogs, even though they're that massive that I've showed y'all those big pictures of those giant hogs, even though they're that big, trust me, guys, they're quiet as a whisper. You'll smell a hog before you see a hog. You know, that's the problem. You'll smell him before you see him. And you're lucky if you can smell him first. What's up, Maxima? Morning, Lettuce. How you doing? You know, hello, Ziggy. Hello, everybody. We're in here talking about the feral hog. You know, guys, I'm a hunter of feral hogs. I understand their habits. I understand their ways of movement and everything like that. These guys are constantly on the move. Not only are they constantly on the move, but they only sleep about 2 to 3 hours, and then they're up moving again. So they don't stay rested very long. They don't. A hog is 200 pounds, can over 1,000 with its own strength. You know, they're very powerful. Yes, wild hogs are extremely mean, Ziggy. You know, I have seen some wild hogs do some crazy stuff, man. They're so territorial. You know, there was a group of wild hogs that ended up behind a suburban neighborhood out here in my hometown. And they were doing exactly what you were talking about, Ziggy. They were trying to kill people's dogs. They were trying to chase people's animals away. Some people's cats went missing, you know, stuff like that. These are all signs that hogs are in the area, guys. And normally you would say that's a sign of a mountain lion or a bobcat or an alligator. No, in this case, it was all hog. Because when they went back into the woods behind that suburban area, all they found was just shredded territory. Now, I've showed it before, but I'll show it again. This is what a large group of hogs can do. This is what a large group of hogs can do. This was a golf course here in Beaumont, Texas, where they shredded everything just trying to find something to eat. You know, guys, and I do mean, if you could see the whole picture, you'd realize this is like 3/4 to almost a full acre of land that they just shredded. You know, an acre is a large piece of property. You know, that's not small. And they have to do all this work to fix all of this. Because like I said, guys, this happened at a golf course. This was probably only about 10 or 15 hogs, which is the sad part. This was a guy's wheat field here in Texas. They went all the way through his wheat field. And as you can see, they stopped for a little while. And up here up top, they continued on again. So you can see the break where they stopped and took a rest and went on back to eating, guys. You know, and like I said, these things are just destruction on the max. You know, there's a reason why we call them war pigs whenever it comes down to machines of war. There's a reason why we call it that. And it's because pigs are designed for battle. They're designed for war. And they will go to it as a first option, not as a second option. You know, guys, every time I go hog hunting, I make sure I'm beside a tree I can run up, basically. And the whole reason being is because I don't want these big tusked SOBs to get a hold of me. I like my legs where they are, I like my arms where they are, and I like my face intact. Because that's the horrible part about them. They'll take your legs out from underneath you, and they'll go for your face. You know, guys, and that's going to be the first thing they're going to go for, your legs and your face. Now, if there's a large group of them, they're going to go for everything. Absolutely everything. How you doing this morning, Lettuce? I thought you had left on us. But they'll tear you up. You know, so anytime you're a hunter, you got to be careful of these things. You know, and if you don't kill it with the first shot, you better hope you drop it. Because if it doesn't hit the ground, it's going to turn look at you, let out that roar I showed you guys a minute ago, and it's going to come for you. It's going to come for you fast and hard. And guys, it doesn't matter if you get your butt up that tree or not. You better have a good grip because it's going to hit that tree with everything it's got to try to knock you down. You know, try to knock you out of that tree like a piece of rotten fruit. And that's another thing. Hogs will get themselves drunk. Yeah. You know, they'll take and wait for certain fruits to ferment. And then they'll eat it. And they'll get drunk as a skunk. So, me and my dad, we pulled a little prank on them. We went out into the middle of an oat flat and we planted an orange tree. And yeah, they'll wait for those oranges to rot. And when they get to a certain degree, they'll eat them. And then they'll just be laying around, drunker than Cooter Brown. You can walk up and boom, easy way to get rid of them. You know, they're also really easy to bait. You know, sour corn, soured deer corn, you know, rotten deer corn, starting to rot. They love it. Deers won't touch it. A hog will go batty over it. And I do mean batty. Guys, we've taken, me and my dad, we took a little recipe that we found. We took some vodka. We took a little bit of water. Not a lot, mostly vodka. We took some vanilla vodka. We took some cherry Kool-Aid mix. And we threw all that with some corn into a 2-liter bottle. We shook it up real good. When we took it outside, we punched holes in it and then waited. Guys, I was able to, yes, I eat feral hogs. I hunt them and I eat them. In fact, lettuce, this was my hog from last year. That's my hog from last year. You can see my bullet hole. You know, I shot him with a 22 Magnum. He was a 250-pound boar. So, yeah, I eat them. You know, I eat them. I use them for bait. You know, and when I say I use them for bait, I mean I use them for fishing bait. You know, guys, nothing really attracts an alligator gar better than a nice big old slab of pork. And the bloodier, the better on that. So I'll usually take the liver and use it for catfish bait. And I'll wrap it up in its own intestines so it's easier for it to be able to get through. Yeah, he wasn't that big of one. You want to see a big one, Ziggy? This is a big boy. This is a big hog. That sucker there is a house. That is an F-150 truck. That is a full-size truck. That is not a small truck. And as you can see, he is bending the tailgate from just his weight. You know, I've showed this picture before and somebody thought it was a cow. But that's a hog. That is a hog, not a cow. Now, my ancestors, the Vikings, used to hunt them with spears. Yeah, that's a big hog, man. When I shot, he was a teenager. 250 pounds, 275 pounds, somewhere around there. That's a teenager, guys. That's still, he's just now reaching adulthood. You know, he might only be 5 years old. In Kentucky, they're small. Yeah, they ain't small down here in Texas, brother. They're big. Every picture I'm showing you came here out of Texas. Here out of Southeast Texas, to be precise. This is all pictures from my territory. You know, guys. So, and yes, it's obvious I don't hunt in the right spot for hogs. I hunt in the closest area for me. So I could go out into deeper South Texas and get much bigger hogs, like Orange, Big Sandy, places like that. I like kill count too, to keep the skulls. So that's why I hunt the Lance Rozier unit. That and there's not so many people hunting them every single day. You know, you got more territory to go be able to run around, be yourself in, and actually try to find it. You know, so that's why I like hunting on the Lance Rozier unit. But as far as hogs go, yes, I do catch alligators from time to time. You know, I tried to get somebody to go gator hunting with me this year, but nobody had a boat and nobody had time. Thank you, my Jin Jin. I love you too. But yes, I do catch alligators. I do have fun with them. The biggest one I've ever helped catch, not caught on my own. I helped the Texas Parks and Wildlife catch it as a volunteer. He was 13 and a half feet. He was a big sucker. But tomorrow is the discussion on the American alligator. So if you wish to come in, let us market you to tomorrow. We'll be talking about the American Alligator Day, also known as alligator. You're trying to train a German Shepherd to hunt? That's a great dog to use. We use pit bulls and pew-pews, to be honest. So most of the hog dogs you'll find around here are pits. And if they're not pits, they're black-mouthed curs. And guys, those are some of the best hunting dogs you could ever ask for, is a black-mouthed cur right there. But we have to put body armor on our dogs just to be able to hunt hogs. Now, where I'm at, I don't use dogs. I don't use four-wheelers. I don't use feeders, stands. I might use a lean-to, but I don't use any of that. I'm a tracker hunter. I go out, I find where the animals are moving through. I sit down and I set up an ambush. And I wait all day. If they don't show up, that means they're on the other side of the territory. And give it 2 days and they're going to be right back where I'm at. So, guys, it's consistency with these animals. They're very habitual. They like to follow the same trails. They like to eat at the same places, and they like to waller and water at the same places. And guys, if you don't know what wallering is, this is wallering. If I can find a picture. Here we go. This is a hog waller. All right? They wallow in the mud to get rid of pests on their skin and under their fur. And this way, they don't have to worry about getting so many parasites or diseases or anything. So you can actually tell if hogs are nearby by if there's a waller. And if there's a waller, that means there's a watering hole, which means that's a good spot to sit and wait on those big SOBs to come through so you can fill your freezer. But that's just an example of a hog wallering. But yeah, guys, we are reaching the last 5 minutes. So if y'all have questions, feel free to ask about the feral hog. Like I said, today is all about hogs. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the American alligator. Now, the other thing about the feral hog, real quick before I'm actually done, I just remembered this. Not only can they have up to 20 piglets at a time, and literally more than 3/4 of those piglets grow to adulthood, but they can mate 2 to 3 times a year, depending upon the age of the female. So 2 to 3 times a year, they're having up to 20 babies. So if they're having the maximum number of babies, they're having 60 hogs. They're adding 60 hogs to the population. Guys, that's like trying to stop rats. Rats can breed every 6 weeks. A hog can breed every 3 months. That's ridiculous. So if one hog's doing it, 50 of them are doing it. If 50 of them are doing it, 100 of them are doing it. So now do the math. On average, they have about 12 to 15. So that's still an impressive freaking number. If that's 4 hogs giving birth at once, that's 100 hogs. 100 hogs. Guys, I may have done my math wrong. That might be 75. But either way, that's a lot of pigs added to the population. What's up, Daniel Thompson? But yeah, guys, that's the population. So yeah, their breeding cycle is just off the charts. So we can't kill them as fast as they're reproducing. So we really do need extermination squads like we used to have for the alligator gar, back in the day, which that might be next week's Saturday subject is the alligator gar. I'm going to talk about the animals I know the most first, and then I'm going to do some research on some others. Okay? So that's how Clint's Critter Chat's going to work. I'll have photographs for you guys, and I'll do some explanations. But, guys, these animals are massive. So, and they're just dangerous. And they're a problem. So plain and simple, to end the Pinewood Rooter needs so that Texas can return back to the way Texas was before introduction of the hog. So thank you all so much for listening to my rant on feral hogs and for being so patient and waiting for me to get back from walking my shuck. He had to go to the bathroom. So thank you all for paying attention to that and being kind for him. But yeah, guys, if you got any questions, drop them. We'll go an extra 15 minutes just to make sure everybody's questions are answered. Okay? And if you're new here, we've been discussing the feral hogs of Texas and how dangerous they are and how big they can get and how much of a problem they are. So if you have an experience with a feral hog, go on ahead, drop a comment. Till then, guys, I'm going to step over here around the other side of the camera real quick. And Kentucky coyotes are a big problem because they eat all your farm animals. But the feral hog has driven most coyotes away from their territories. So now we're having a problem with coyotes in their in suburban areas, coming into like people's yards and trying to take their Chihuahua or their Pomeranian, or having cubs up underneath their porch. These are all things that are happening down here in Southeast Texas. And a huge problem is the fact that it's the feral hog driving everything out. I mean, these things are built to just fight. They're built to fight, stand their ground, be as aggressive as possible. I mean, most of their heritage is Russian and Eurasian, which are two of the largest and two of the most aggressive animals you'll ever see in your life. Sorry, guys. I had to handle something real quick. They killed one of my dogs. Oh, dang, that sucks. We're going to do something on coyotes too. Also bobcats, which something fun. I found the bobcat hide that belongs to my dad that I gave him. So when we go to talk about bobcats, I'll have the hide here with me. So that way y'all can see a small bobcat because it wasn't very big, but it did bite the snot out of me, so it kind of deserved the knife. I went to let it go out of a live trap and it turned around and it bit the crap out of my hand. But yeah, coyotes can be a problem. A friend of mine actually domesticated a coyote at one point though. What's up, Poppy Flower? How you doing? We were just talking about feral hogs and how much of a problem they are. But my ancestors, they used to hunt those things with spears. They would stand up in a tree or ride a horse and they would impale the hog. That's why you have the Viking boar spear. And it has those two little wings on it so that it won't go all the way through. Oh, I'm doing great there, Poppy. I'm glad to see you. Welcome into the show. Hi, Jin. Well, everybody knows my Jin's in here. But anyway, so yeah, guys, we used to hunt them down with spears. In fact, that's probably what I want to try to do one year is I want to try to get me a tree stand and I want to try to hunt a hog with a spear. I want to wait for him to walk up underneath me and just old-fashioned way. Yes, bobcats are a problem too. They really like eating chickens. So when they're hunting for them, they have to use chickens as bait. Yeah, I get that. They really like chicken. They like small prey that they can kill quickly. They also really love squirrels. In fact, I wish I would have gotten the footage, but they were just moving too damn fast. But I almost got footage of a bobcat chasing a squirrel out on the thicket. But I couldn't keep up with them. My camera wouldn't let me got my camera ready, they were gone. It was seconds. So I don't know how these people are able to just switch out the camera and go, or switch out their phone and go straight to camera and just be like, gotcha. You know, I don't know how they're that fast. But bobcats are not such a problem out here anymore. And the reason being is because their main source of food got driven away. The deer and the rabbit. The rabbit is being driven away for the same reason the deer is. The only difference is rabbits are terrified of hogs because hogs will eat them. They're a nice little tender, tasty snack. So hogs will eat a rabbit. So rabbits are leaving the thicket like crazy. I haven't seen a rabbit in the thicket in 20 years. All because of hogs, you know. So these things are, they're not something you really want to mess with, you know. And there's two types of rounds that I use on a hog. I'll show you now. Where did I put the other? Well, here, hang on. I know how to solve this problem. For everybody who's in the chat that's a hunter, you know exactly what that sound was. And if you don't, shame on you. But anyhow, stupid trash box. All right, where did I put my other rounds? I've got some 22 rounds around here somewhere that I also use to hunt hogs with. Ah, there they are. Here we are. All right, guys. These are the two rounds. Oh, copperheads are great. What's up, Xavier? Can hogs eat copperheads? Yes, they love rattlesnakes as well. Yeah, they love rattlesnakes. They'll trample them to death in a heartbeat and eat it. I don't know what it is about snakes, but hogs love them. All right, guys. These are the two rounds I hunt with. This guy right here, yes, this round took out this guy. Ain't even joking. That's... See? A little bitty bullet. And right here. So yeah, this little bitty round took out that big hog. Nice to see you still here, my love. And the other round I use is, of course, your standard 12 gauge double aught buck. You know, guys, this goes in my shotgun hog buster. This is what I mostly use for hogs, but I do use these when it's not typical hunting season. When you can't use typical shotguns on the thicket, you can use 22s for squirrel season, but they also allow you to use them for hogs. So we use 22 magnums, we shoot them in the head, you know, either right behind the ear or dead between the eyes as best we can, and we bring them down. And then we always bring them home. I've never missed a shot, don't plan on missing anytime soon, and any hog that steps in front of me, Porky better pray for him. You know, because, yeah. And yes, they will eat copperheads, they will eat rattlesnakes, they will eat water snakes, they especially prefer venomous snakes. And the reason why is because it gives them a high effect. It makes them feel high. And hogs are very, very weird when it comes down to that animal that enjoys its drugs more than a hog. Let me reload this shell back in here, and I'll get right back to you guys. Ooga booga. Why'd you have to fall down? Stay up there, Ooga booga. All right. There we go. So, guys, you know, that's basically all I can really tell y'all about hogs. You know, the rest of it I'm going to have to show y'all. you know, when we go to take and do our trails out in the thicket and everything like that, because I got to show you what hog poop and hog tracks look like. So we'll be doing that for you guys. All kinds of stuff. Oh, Mama says good morning, Shuck. He looked at me like, Mama? All right. Anyway, everybody, thank you all so much for coming in. Thank you all so much for having questions. We're going to be on here another 9 minutes, guys. Oh, yeah. I've eaten alligator a lot, lettuce, man. Alligator's been one of the staple of my diets since I was a kid. You know, you can get 4 different sections off the tail. And not only that, there's 3 different kinds of meat in an alligator. You don't just eat the tail. Them legs make a great jambalaya. I do live stream when I will be live streaming when I hunt, but I will be cutting the live stream off the second I see an animal. And the reason being is because you can't show firearms on live, especially not using them. So I will be doing a video of me hunting, but it won't be it won't be for very long. Don't worry, Jin Jin, you're gonna eat some with me. You're gonna have some gator with me. Because I'll be danged if I'm gonna give up on trying to find a way to hunt alligators yet. I still got 2 months. I still got 2 months to find somebody brave enough to want to go gator hunting with me. Because you never go gator hunting alone. That's a big boo-boo. So I guarantee the only reason why that guy on Swamp People, the one that was in the overalls that ended up having a heart attack, I guarantee the only reason why he hunted alone was because he had the camera crew with him. Other than that, you never hunt alligator by yourself. Never, 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 never. And the reason being is because if something goes wrong, you need somebody there. Buddy, remember, I'm a swamp rat. So yeah, frog legs, that was one of the first things I learned how to hunt was frogs. And I taught myself. Come home with a 5-gallon bucket full of bullfrogs. My grandpa was just like, boy, we got some dinner tonight. Going to Florida in 3 weeks, so I'm probably going to see one. I'm really good at fishing. That's awesome, Ziggy. I hope you actually managed to catch yourself some good fish. I hear that the bullseye snakehead, you don't even have to have a fishing license for. And there's no size limit and there's no bag limit. So catch away, man. And don't forget, you see a green iguana crossing the road or something like that, take the little dude out. I hate to say that, but they're invasive. What's up, Brentley? Want to go fishing so bad, but I got nobody to go with me. Jen, we'll go fishing the first time I get a chance with you. We'll go fishing. Don't worry. We sit there with a couple of cane poles on the riverbank, slapping our feet in the mud, having a good old time. Well, what's up, Brentley? Welcome into the show. Thank you so much for joining. We just got through talking about the feral hog. This has been Clint's Critter Chat. First episode, and it went rather well. We got 15 likes out of it. We're only an hour and 10 minutes into it. We still got 16 likes. I wouldn't mind getting another 4 likes up there if possible, guys. Just 4 more. That's all I ask. All right? Also, please like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to go check out my girl at JenHolder976. She's right here at the pinned comment at the bottom of the page. Yeah, it has, Brentley. It's been a minute since I've seen you. I remember you. But unfortunately, you're catching us at the end of the show. We're working on getting our last 2 likes, and then we're going to head on out, guys. But our last 3 likes now. But anyhow, guys, we're going to be talking tomorrow about the American alligator, and as much as I know about it, everything I can think of. Hogs are pretty straightforward. There's not much complication to them. Alligators, on the other hand, a little bit more complicated. They're a little bit harder to track. They're definitely harder to track. They're a little bit harder to track. They're a lot harder to spot, and they can be just as dangerous as the hog. And unfortunately, you don't have to have as big an alligator as you do a hog to be dangerous. Thank you, Brentley, for sure. No, I didn't giggle. I caught him barehanded, buddy. Make that 2. All right, Ziggy. So apparently Clint's Critter Chats is going over well. So guys, on Saturdays and Sundays, when Jin can't join us for Morning Mojo, we're going to have Clint's Critter Chats. All right? And we're going to talk about all kinds of critters. Life in the swamp, guys. That's what it's all about. Life in the swamps. Life in the forests. Living off the land. And learning about the things around you guys. Because you can't hunt something if you don't know nothing about it. So, as a hunter, I had to learn a lot about hogs. And as a hunter of alligators, I got to learn a lot about them. How many feral hog deaths do you think there are a year? There's at least 10, which is 10 too many. But there's at least 10 of them every year. And that's as bad as shark attacks, guys. You have just the same amount of chance of getting attacked by a hog. But the difference is we have people that are literally going out and hunting these things down and trying to face them on their own territory, which is not the same thing that happens with sharks. When it comes down to a shark, it's usually a, what the heck are you, chomp? And they're going to give them a quick bite because they can't test with anything else. So they're going to give you a quick nibble. And then they're usually swimming off like, oh crap, I don't like this, that. Unless they're a tiger shark or a bull shark. Bull shark's just mean as hell. But which we're also going to be doing bull sharks as one of my critter chats as well, because they have been caught in the Nature's River, which is where less than 20 miles from is the Nature's River. And we have caught bull sharks at least 300 miles up that river. I will be doing one on the velvet ant, which is the cow killer. I will be doing one on the velvet ant. But man, I'm trying to do my critter chats to start with on just the animals in my territory. Critter Chats is mainly just about Southeast Texas wildlife. Everyone says sharks are super dangerous, but if you leave them alone, they will leave you alone. Not always, Ziggy. That's why I said I will be talking about the bull shark. Because the bull shark is just aggressive. Used to live in I can't pronounce that word, beach. Shark bite capital of the world. But there were not any deaths. Like you said, they just bite and swim off. Yeah, most of them do. A bull shark, on the other hand, they eat anything. They don't care, and they have the highest testosterone levels of any creature in the world. What's up, Roach? How you doing, man? Welcome in, welcome in. Guys, don't forget to hit that like button, smash the subscribe button, and come hit the bell icon if you want to hear more great facts. Yes, great white sharks are not that dangerous. The bite and the size of the bite is what's dangerous. Like chomp that and swims off. They just don't want to deal with it. It takes a really, really hungry shark to really want to eat a human being. But we will be talking about bull sharks. We're also going to be talking about the alligator gar. So what we're probably going to do is this Sunday, we're going to be talking about the American alligator. Next Saturday, we're going to talk about the alligator gar. And then after that, we'll probably talk about the bull shark. Okay, guys? Those are 3 great videos that should be coming up real soon. Oh yeah, orcas kill great whites all the time and eat their livers. What's up, Brantley? I am back. I had to leave. Hello again. No, I can't go scuba diving, Zach. I've had major surgeries done to my ears. But I've been snorkeling. I went snorkeling off the coast of Cozumel. I went snorkeling off the coast of there. Beautiful water. Absolutely incredible place to be. Scared the crap out of myself with a moray eel. But other than that, it was a ball, man. So, yeah, I've been snorkeling. Our alligator gar is good eating. There's some ugly things. Yes, they are actually good eating. And yeah, you're right. There's some fugly fish. But they are literally from before the Triassic period, guys. The alligator gar has not really changed in literally over 240 million years. Guys, that is a long time. But we'll get into that, on the video about it. But yeah, there's some good eating. A lot of people like gar balls. I like to make gar steaks. Because it's one big slab of muscle that you get off of them. And it's a nice big chunk of meat, too. Not on to that. What's up, Superior? How you doing, man? We just got through talking about the wild feral hog. We're looking for 2 more likes, guys. That's all we need. It's 2 more likes. Thank you. There's my Jen. Yeah, we was talking about wild hogs. You know, talking about hunting them, showing off the ammunition. I wish I had a pelt I could show you guys, but I don't. I used the last one to make armor. I made a guy a suit of berserker armor. 19. But what's up, Bubba? You know, we were talking about the feral hog, man. But you know, guys, I wish I had a pelt to show you guys. Just don't. But 1 more like and we're out of here, though, guys. So just 1 more like and the video can be finished. Anyhow, guys. So yeah, they're gnarly, man. It's I hate to use that term, but they're gnarly, man. You know, so he's victorious. I got back down to 19. But anyway, guys, so like I said, just 1 more like. Show's probably gonna be finished after that. But other than that, guys, you know, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon, come back and visit us. Tomorrow we're talking about the American alligator first thing in the morning. So I hope you'll come join us for that. But anyway, guys, you know, it's always amazing to see how nature can change. It's always amazing to see how strong nature can be. And for something like the feral hog to be so short and to be as powerful as a rhinoceros when they get strong enough and big enough, you know, it's amazing. I've seen these guys flip Jeeps. And, you know, they're also one of the worst things to ever hit if you're driving down the road. You run over a hog, it don't roll over the top of your cab. It sucks up underneath your car, which launches you straight into the air like a ramp. I've seen it happen many a times. And it will take out your axle. It will take out your axle. It will take out your radiator. It will mess your car up. You will have to either have it totaled or have it towed. One of the two. But it's going to take some serious repair if you hit a hog. You know, they're just tanks. Who's your favorite cartoon pig? Porky, Piglet, or Pumbaa? Pumbaa. Sorry, Pumbaa from The Lion King, man. You know, when I was a young warthog. Yeah, sorry, Pumbaa. Always loved him, man. And the reason being is because I always kind of felt a kindredship to Pumbaa. You know, I was always the picked on one. I was always the outcast. I only had one friend my whole life. And it wasn't because of stank, so it wasn't for the same reason. It was just simply because I was a weirdo, guys. And I know it. But anyway, the wonderful thing about Pumbaa was he was kind at all times until you did something to make him mad. And once you made him mad, he was a force to be reckoned with. And that's the same thing with the wild hog. You know, they're pretty chill at first until you do something to make them mad. And all you got to do to really make them mad is walk into their home turf. That's it. Just walk into their home turf. You know, and they're going to be mad as hell. So that's one of the awful things about it. Well, anyway, guys, we got 1 more like to go. Just 1 more like. Yeah, Hakuna Matata. You know, or in some case, Hakuna his Matatas. You know, let go of them. Just loosen the reins up just a little bit. You know. Anyway, guys, so it's definitely been awesome having everybody here. You know, I think since it's almost hitting an hour and 30 minutes, I don't think we're going to get that last like, guys. We're trying hard, but I don't think we're going to get it. Anyway, oh, well, there it is. So I spoke too soon. All right, guys. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. It's not even hunting anymore. Yeah, I know, right? What's up, Keely? Killjoy Dark Death. What is up? Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for the likes. You know, chat, we're going to be talking about the American alligator. So we'll see you all next time. Thank you so much for showing up. Y'all have a wonderful day. All right. See you next time in the swamp. And remember, love your mama, love your papa, love yourself. Be kind. Always find a way to help everybody. We'll check you next time.